All right, next question up says, at this point in my training, I feel like my weaknesses are at the lockout for my deadlift, even though I'm a flat back puller, off the chest in my bench, and at the bottom of my squat. Do you have any suggestions on modifying the program? I don't think I would need to change anything for deadlift because every other week I do a pause below the knee and I'm working on deficit in between, so that shouldn't hurt. I'm pretty sure that the bench was programmed for someone weak at the lockout, so that's the one I'm looking for the most insight on. I don't feel like I'm making much progress there. Finally, for the squat, I've never done pin squats and I feel like my technique is not consistent, but they could be really helpful. Would you recommend that I use them maybe for a 3-week block and then off instead of every other week so that I can practice my technique? So there's several things going on here, so let's go through each of them. First, for your deadlift, it's good that you're doing your pauses below the knee. That's ideal, actually. And you're right. Occasionally doing some deficit deadlifts or something focused on the bottom end is not going to be harmful for you whatsoever. So that shouldn't need to change. And later on, you're going to have rack pulls and things like that as well. So that also shouldn't need to change. The bench actually is designed for someone who's weak off the chest, because almost every raw bencher shows a weakness off the chest. What you need to do in order for that to happen, when you do your pause deadlifts or pause benches, make sure that you're pausing right at chest level. It's a soft touch on the chest. You know, you're just barely touching your chest and you pause. Okay. And you pause for, 2 seconds or close to it for the 2-count pause bench, 3 seconds or close to it for the 3-count pause bench. So that's kind of the idea. The chest level pin press is another movement that's going to help you to get the weight moving off your chest. There should be some chest focused assistance exercises. There is some overload work and some tricep focused work. That's not the end of the world. That's not a thing that you really even need to be concerned about. It's good to develop your triceps in a supplemental capacity. That's going to help you develop your bench into the future. The overload work in your bench training is designed to help you get used to handling heavier weights. And that's also a thing that's had a positive correlation or a positive effect rather on our bench presses. Those are only 2 slots in the week though, so most of your work and most of the emphasis is on chest level and really hammering that weak range of motion. So what I would suggest is that if that's not working out and we're sure that that's your weak range of motion, let me know. We'll see about maybe modifying some of the training volumes, especially if you have track data. That would be extremely useful. We'll see if we need to modify any of the training volumes and possibly shift you into a different training group where the strategy is a little bit more conducive to your progress. As far as the squat, if you want to change that and move into 3-week blocks of pin squats or any sort of movement like that, that should be fine. And in fact, I would kind of encourage that in a situation like what you're in.